When lifting, we tend to focus on things such as maintaining good form, performing reps at a certain speed, or looking at the mirror to see how big our guns are getting. All these things are external, focusing on things on the outside. But what about our internal focus? The mind-muscle connection, a strategic phenomenon dictating the possibility of increasing neuromuscular drive by, quote, flexing the brain to induce greater muscle gains. When you lift, think of moving and feeling the one muscle that you are targeting. For example, when you want to target the biceps in a bicep curl, focus your attention onto the biceps brachii muscle and imagine only that one muscle doing all the work. You can even flex it a little bit more during the movement to add emphasis. By employing thought and intentional contraction, more of the power output is shifted from secondary movers onto the focused muscle. Well, at least that's the theory. What do the studies actually say? One study had subjects perform curl-ups while focusing on either their rectus abdominis or obliques and found that greater activation coincided with whichever muscle they internally focused. If they were told to focus on the abs activated more. If they were told to focus on the obliques activated more. Same goes with a study that found significant increases in peak EMG activity in the abs during a squat, which is leg dominant, when the subjects were told to brace yourself as if you were going to be punched in the stomach. Another study found increases in glute activity along with decreases in hamstring activity when young women were told to focus on a glute squeeze during a lying hip extension. And the list goes on and on about increased activity of an internally focused muscle, even though sometimes that doesn't necessarily decrease the activity of secondary muscle groups. But yada yada yada, study this, study that, whatever. Let's ask the important question. Does it give me more of them sweeto gains? Although there are no direct studies that link the mind-muscle phenomena to muscle hypertrophy, increased activity certainly indicates that possibility. One study observed different regions of the triceps brachii muscle while performing a certain triceps extension exercise and noted that certain parts of the muscle had greater activation than others. Subjects were told to perform this same exercise for 12 weeks, then measured the growth of the muscle. And with confirmation, the triceps muscle did in fact had greater muscle growth in the areas with the greatest muscle activation. They went ahead and tested other triceps exercises that had different degrees of activation and found the same results. Now, whether this applies to all muscles remains to be seen, but for now, it's safe to say that activation certainly can contribute to growth. So, does that mean you should now employ a mind-muscle connection to all of your lifts? Well, no. Your focus should first and foremost be proper form, especially for beginners who need a lot of form work to begin with and will see gains for doing pretty much anything anyway. And you need to consider the level of intensity. As you lift closer to your maximal efforts, the ability to focus on the mind-muscle connection is overridden with the increased focus of just moving the darn weight in the first place. If you're going heavy, forget mind-muscle connection and just move the weight. But lucky for you, going heavy is usually an emphasis for improving strength. But you want gains. Well, then the studies give you a big thumbs up, as the greatest activation from internal focus occurs at a moderate intensity, aptly in line with the so-called hypertrophy range. So if you decide to deploy the magic of muscle-mind connection, make sure you get your proper form first and don't go too heavy. And go ahead and stop using your brain trying to decipher this video and use that brain to deliver all them gains. Like and share the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.